Hello, hola, welcome back to Rena MoMoney Plus YouTube channel. Well, you know who I am. I'm your girl, Rena MoMoney. I come on here every week to give you valuable information in reference to real estate, credit cards, lenders, things to help you to become a better you. Well, I got another good one for you. If you've been on my channel before, you know I do coaching calls. And on my coaching calls, I often get the question of subject to. How can I get more subject to? What is subject to? What is the best way to obtain properties? And why is subject to one of your top best ways to obtain properties? Well, today we're going to talk about why subject to is the best way to obtain real estate properties. So come on in. Well, you ask, what is subject to? What do you mean subject to? Subject to what? Buying a property subject to the existing mortgage is what subject to. So if you hear folks say that short-term subject to, it means subject to the existing finance, the existing mortgage. So let's jump right in and say why purchasing properties subject to is the best way to obtain properties. Number one, it can increase the number of deals you do yearly. So if you're currently only doing one or two or three a year, adding subject to strategy will help increase your deals because you're leveraging your funds. So it can increase your number of deals that you do because now you don't need all of this money up front. You don't need to do all this qualifying. You don't need 20% of the loan. You are taking over the mortgage. But remember, I said on a previous video, 9 times out of 10, they are going to be behind. Not all, and I shouldn't say 9 times out of 10, but most of the time, the borrower will be behind. The second reason is because most sellers need to sell fast, or they have exhausted all other measures and all other options to sell their home or to do something or to solve a problem. So subject to is the best way because most sellers need to sell fast, and you can pick that up, which means what? They are a motivated seller. Number 3, you can buy by taking over the payments, which means you're buying it with very little money. Some folk may only be 1 or 2 months behind. I tell you what, since the economy changed and since things have happened and the recession has started, the mortgage companies are now sending out those letters a little faster now that they've released the foreclosures, they've released the eviction, and everything is back to normal as far as the mortgage. Well, to us, the rates are still pretty high. And I think I told you on a previous video, once one thing happened, then something else will normalize. Well, the prices of the houses are going down. And I told you around the middle of 2023, you will start seeing everything normalize, even on interest rates. So picking up a property subject to the existing loan, you can put very little money into that. I picked up a property. She was only 2 months behind and her mortgage was like $1,400 something a month. So, I just had to pick up that too. Then I put some money in her pocket. And that's another thing you're always going to want to do. Put some money in that homeowner pocket. That will make them so happy. Don't sit up there and you know for fact, for sure, that it's $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 value in that home, and they're only 2 months behind and they won't out, and it's probably only $3,000 worth of work you need to do. And when I say go in, I mean to turn that around and either rent it out or sell it. If it's only just paint needed or cosmetics, lipstick is what we call it in the real estate world. But if you're seeing that, be mindful of that borrower, that seller. You're helping them out of a bad situation. If they allow themselves to get in that situation and they just want out, 9 times out of 10, they need a little money. So throw them some money. See what they'll need so that they can start turning things around. You want to be a helpful person. You want to solve problems, and that's probably part of their problem. It's the whole reason why they're even interested in entertaining a subject to. Number 4, the fourth reason why subject to is the best way to obtain property is because it's considered a creative way of financing. It's a creative financing tool that you can use to expedite the time it takes to close a deal. Most deals take 30 days for the average, about 30 to 40 days. Well, doing a subject to, you can close within 3 days because the only thing you need to do is what? Get the title company involved, have the title search pull, a few other things, get your 5 essential documents that you need for the subject to completed and done, get an understanding of it. You can close with that title company in 3 to 4 days. So that's number 4. That's another reason why it is a good option. Okay, moving on. I think we're on number 5. The 5th reason why subject to is the best way to obtain property is because most likely, more than likely, you will save on the interest rates. You say, Rena, MoMoney, what do you mean? The interest rate is the interest rate across the board. If you have a 700 credit score, this is what you're going to get. Bam, bam, bam. No, a homeowner may have gotten that interest rate in the low period at 2.9, at 3.4. 9 times out of 10, it was their primary home, most likely. So, which means they got a better interest rate versus you as an investor having another point or point and a half. Remember, I told you it's not always about how much money you make. It's also about how much you can save. And 1 point can make almost a $50,000 difference in a deal. So that fifth way is to save on interest rates. Now, that's not 100% always true, but 9 times out of 10, that interest rate that homeowner has is going to be lower than what you can get that investment property for, or get it as an investment property. Before I go into the next one, I want to ask, if you haven't already, please subscribe. I come on here every week to give you valuable information. If I have never given you anything to say, well, you need to subscribe and come back every week so that you can get some information that can help you out, that you can get some information that can help you crush it in real estate, crush it in your finances, and crush it and make a difference. This year, you say you were going to be financially free. This year, you say you were going to make a difference in your bottom line income. Well, you're on the right channel to do that, because I'm always going to release gems throughout the entire video that's going to help you save money. If you have already subscribed, then great, fine, leave that alone. Press like, comment, let me know that you're here. That actually keeps me going. Just a simple something, 2 words, 5 words. Comment, let me know that you're here, that this information is that valuable for you, and it'll keep me going. There's actually so many reasons why Subject 2 is the best way to obtain properties. Now, there are others, and we talk about that on this channel. Take some time out and surf down my channel. Make it like a channel night, a Rena MoMoney Plus YouTube night, and just go down and revisit some of the videos that I have on my channel. If you're interested in cryptocurrencies, look down in the description below. If you're interested in a PAM account, I can be your sponsor. I have some resources down in the description. Click on more, and you can find some great tools, some great resources that can help you with this journey in 2023. So the 6th reason why Subject 2 is the best way to obtain properties is it helps the seller. It minimizes the stress on the seller. It avoids the foreclosure process for the seller, and you provide a solution. So think about scheduling a coaching call. It's a 30-minute session for $50. Invest in yourself, educate yourself, and make sacrifices. So again, make sure you take some time out. I have a package that will help you to have a successful Subject 2 deal. We'll generate and make sure that you have a successful Subject 2 deal. So look down in there. The package is the 5 essential documents that you need to complete a successful Subject 2 deal. Keep in mind, the deed is transferred over at closing. If you need help with a Subject 2 step-by-step, then you definitely need to schedule a coaching call. Here's a tip. Here's one thing I want to say to you. Here's something I want to make sure I mention before I go into my new subscribers. Always know that there are cons to everything. There's always pros and there's always cons into every industry, every niche, every part of life, everything, every person, actually. There are pros and cons, but in relationships, there are pros and cons in business. There are pros and cons when you invest. There are pros and cons in each house, and each deal, and each method. Keep that in mind. So let me give you a little bit of the cons in Subject 2 when you get ready to actually do a Subject 2 deal. This is something I probably would have went over on a coaching call, but I'm gonna release that on this YouTube video. And for that, I'm asking for a like. That's all I'm asking, is that you either like, make a comment, let me know where you are in your real estate. Let me know that you heard me loud and clear. Let me know that you like this content. Help me keep going, help YouTube continue to push this out. I'm going to give you the cons in a Subject 2. And as I'm doing this, first let me thank everyone for coming here and listening to me. Thank you to the new subscribers. I want to give you a claps up. Give yourself a hand for coming, for subscribing to get this information so that you can become a better you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have your name streaming across the screen here. Thank you so very much. It is much appreciated. For those that are coming back, I want to give you a clap and hands up as well. I don't take it for granted. I don't. I much so appreciate you. So let me give you that tip. I said I was going to give you that tip on knowing about the cons in Subject 2. The first one is the due on sale clause in the mortgage. There will be a due on sale clause in the mortgage, but I don't want you to worry about that. I don't want you to not do a subject to deal because you're afraid that the mortgage company is going to call the sale on the house and say, look, all the money is due by X amount of time. They don't care. They only really want their money. So the first one will be the due on sale clause. We can't ignore it, but for the most part, 99.2% of the times, as long as you're paying on time, you don't have to worry about that. Little risk, but big rewards. The second con is the motivated seller that originally was motivated, their circumstances change and they want to buy another house down the line. Or they may not want the loan in their name anymore. That's like the biggest one. That's the biggest one. They were motivated at that time because there was so much going on. Now a year later, a year and a half later, they're saying, okay, look, I need the mortgage out my name because now I want to buy a house. You're going to have to learn how to deal with that. You need to learn your rebuttals on that. You need to understand what to say. Again, if you have that situation, schedule a coaching call. I'll go in details about that. But I wanted you to know that that's one of the cons that does happen. And it does happen. That seller changes their mind and they want to put down another money on another house. And that house is now showing on their credit. So there's ways around that. And there's things that you can do to help out that seller if that happens. You're going to need to schedule a coaching call for that one. The third way, or the third con, should I say, is they want the home back. They just want it back. They say, hey, look at here. Look, things was bad then. I'm ready. I just got my tax return and now I have $4,000 to put. I want it back. Well, you're going to have to explain to them how that was. And that's why in those 5 essential documents, there's some stuff on that will cover your ASS. I would say the fourth con, and it should be actually the second biggest con, is they want it off their credit. Now there's some things, that's why you have to be transparent up front. And I talk about that on my step-by-step video that I have way down on my video channel. I talk about the step-by-step on a subject to, and there is a con of them wanting it off their credit. You have to explain that and be transparent with them in the beginning before you even get to the closing table. You tell them, you know, what you're going to do. And I'm gonna give you a tip. I'm gonna go ahead and give you this tip here. I never tell the seller, homeowner, that I am going to remove it off their credit within a year or two. What I tell them is the options that I will entertain. And one of those options is to refinance it within 2 to 3 years, but that's not guaranteed. Always be transparent. You'll figure out the best way to say it. If you want some more ways that you can say it, or if you're running across that, or if you just want to have that down and have that, schedule a coaching call with me or get that package, that's going to save you. That 5 essential documents is going to be everything that you need to do a subject to deal successfully. You'll also find that they want it off their credit, so they'll start bugging you to refinance it. So try to be funny about giving the exact time, and if you do give an exact time, you make sure that you are definitely going to do it in that exact time. Some folk go in a subject to already knowing that they're going to keep it and rent it. You know, some folk go into a subject to knowing that they're going to flip that property. And if that's the case, if you know your exit strategy is you're going to fix it up, make it pretty and sell it, and you know it can be done in 6 months to a year, then it's okay to say that. But give yourself some time. So if that's your exit strategy, then you want to say, well, I plan to do this, this, and this. But if that doesn't work, I'll do this. Always be transparent when you're talking to the sellers and homeowners, because you want them to come back. You want them to feel safe. You don't want them to try to take you to court. You want things to be easy peasy. Again, I want to say there's nothing and no method that is risk-free. Yes, you can buy this with no credit because you're using their credit. You're buying it subject to the existing loan, but it will require some money. So if you don't need credit, then you're going to need some money. If you don't need any money, then you're going to need some credit. And that's across the board in whatever you're doing in real estate when you're not using your own money. My last 2 tips I want to give you that I think is going to save you some money. Remember, when you come on here, it's about saving money or making money. My last tip is to never call the bank and try to assume the loan. You ask why? Well, that's another video. Go down the channel, look at my information that I give on the step-by-step for that. I even talk about that particular tip on why you will never call the bank and exactly what you need to do. My second tip on this is another one that I would have normally did on a coaching call, is to tell you about how to title the house when you're doing the subject to deal. Don't title it in your personal name. You want to know how to title it? Schedule a coaching call or get the package so that you can do a subject to correctly. Don't get out here and mess up and then you put all this money into it and you don't own the house or you didn't do it properly. So that's my take, and that's my video for the day. I hope that gives you valuable information. Again, like if you like me, subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate it. I want you to have a great day, and you take care. Thank you.